If you're thinking about moving to San Diego and you want a coastal city that's up and coming, that's seen a lot of change over these past 10 to 15 years and still has a lot of change going on into the future, Oceanside might be your spot. Today, we're gonna dive into Oceanside, show you a few neighborhoods, show you what's around, some things to do, and everything you need to know about living right here in Oceanside. So let's get into it right now.
So first up, where is Oceanside? Oceanside is kind of halfway in between downtown San Diego, so where you're flying in, San Diego Airport, and San Clemente in Orange County. So definitely a good jumping off point right on the coast. The 5 freeway kind of splits it right down the middle. So really convenient if you're commuting up north or commuting down south. You're really close no matter where you are in Oceanside.
And one thing about Oceanside is it is big. So Oceanside is in the name. Obviously, some parts are near the ocean, but as you go inland, some of the neighborhoods we're going to cover in a little bit are a little bit further inland. You're going to get a little bit more affordable over there. The last neighborhood we cover is a brand new build community that is opening in the next few years, so stay tuned for that.
One thing that is evident and very obvious when you're in this community is Oceanside is a very, very tight-knit community. People that live here in Oceanside love Oceanside. There's a lot of people that have their families have grown up here. They're never leaving Oceanside.
So right now we're cruising on the Strand, which is the beach in Oceanside, or the street in Oceanside that goes right along the beach. You guys can obviously see it out here. But where we were before was the harbor. A lot of people who are moving to Oceanside want to be close to the beach. You want to be close to some sort of beach access. So I would say the harbor is probably the most popular, where you're going to have the most people, most parking. That's where my nephew lives, up in Oceanside. That's where he's going surfing a lot of the time. The pier is right back here too. But this Strand is pretty nice too. It's just parking's a little difficult. So the area that we're surrounding right here, this is kind of like right near the downtown of Oceanside. When we were growing up, this was not a ton going on down here. There was parking lots in the back here, so a lot more parking. Now where those parking lots were, there is big hotels. There's the Seabird, there is Mission Pacific. I think those are the two names of them, but they're right there. There's cool restaurants and rooftop lounges and pools and all kinds of fun stuff. So it's becoming a little bit more touristy as Oceanside has grown. With that, a lot of these downtown neighborhoods, a lot of these downtown areas have seen new restaurants and places and shops and all that kind of stuff come in. So that's going to continue over these next few years. But most people who are moving down here aren't necessarily looking in this area of Oceanside. Obviously, it's coastal, it's right on the beach, so it's going to be one of the most expensive areas in Oceanside, but it's also a different lifestyle. So we have had clients move down here, and what they're looking for is they want that walkability. They want to be super close to downtown area, to the restaurants and bars and kind of that whole vibe down there. So that's where they ended up, a little 1-bedroom, 1-bath, kind of smaller footprint condo down here. So you'll find that. You'll find some bigger houses. I'm looking as we're driving down the Strand, some bigger houses. But like I said, most people are going to be looking in the other neighborhoods that we're going to show you in just a minute.
So right now we're cruising through South Oceanside, which is a really cool community. As you can see around us, you have a lot of single-story houses, which is not always the case in a lot of North County neighborhoods. So you've got a lot of single-story, kind of original beach bungalow, not huge houses, but pretty good footprints, pretty good size yards. And then you have some of the more modern, like where people have torn down or remodeled and built bigger houses and kind of filled that space on those lots. This is a really tight-knit community. We've mentioned Oceanside is as a whole, but South O definitely is too. They go big. Halloween, Christmas, a lot of the holidays, there's block parties everywhere, there's decorations everywhere. This is definitely a happening spot for a lot of those key holidays. And then also, you're not in downtown Oceanside here, you're not on the Coast Highway, and it's not really walkable to that, but there are some really cool spots that are 5, 10, 15 minutes away. Some of our favorites, South O Brewing, really, really good beer right on the Coast Highway. Heritage Barbecue, love their tri-tip. You got to try it sometime. They also put it on nachos, which is really good too. And if you want a mix of food and beer, Craft Coast is definitely one of our favorites. You've probably heard it mentioned on this channel before, but it's really, really good tacos, really good beer. Their Mexican lager is on point.
And one other quick thing, back to the beaches. So where we were, harbor, then we were at the Strand, which is right by the pier. These beaches, as you go down from here, a lot of them are going to be somewhat not super accessible. So on high tides and stuff, the beach, the water's going to go almost up to the houses and stuff. So there's basically not a ton of beach. Oceanside has been in the works to put in a little bit of kind of like sand, not replenishment, but like barriers that are going to catch the sand. So It's a long-term project. They're doing studies and stuff right now, but it's going to change that whole area down there, potentially some artificial reefs and stuff. So like some of them a little further down, that there's some smaller beaches that you're going to find, like Buccaneer Beach. It's actually where I caught my very first wave as a youngster, but like right down there, you're going to see some of the some of those areas are going to change as they do put in those projects. So now we are at Goat Hill Golf Course, right close to where we were, but across the other side of the 5 freeway, so not too far. But we came here because it's kind of newer over these past few years. They've revitalized it. It's kind of become like a vibe, and it kind of gives you a good idea of the vibe of Oceanside. And this golf course is a fun little golf course. It's somewhere between not quite executive, not quite a full course, somewhere in the middle. I played it with my dad and my brothers a few months back, and it's fun. It's a lot of ups, a lot of downs. Lost a few balls, obviously. That's not the case, but it's definitely some driving holes. But anyways, it's kid friendly, it's dog friendly. On the other side, there's a little miniature golf course, like 3 holes that the kids could play. Cool little clubhouse, but it's just a good spot. It's a good vibe here, and it gives you a good vibe of kind of like what Oceanside's all about right here.
So the main drag getting to this golf course is Oceanside Boulevard. Not the most aesthetic, prettiest street ever. It's very industrial, a lot of auto shops, a lot of that stuff, that infrastructure right there. And kind of where we're at here, Chris mentioned we're on the other side of the 5 from South O, but we're right in the middle, kind of between 78 and the 76. So 78's to our south, 76 up to the north. And then from here, from the golf course, we're going to show you another neighborhood that is close to that kind of 78 corridor. Let's go check it out.
Funky, eclectic, upscale, and rural is how the residents here described it in the article I read, like from 10 years ago, or from 2010 rather, so 14 years ago. But we're in Fire Mountain right now. This is pretty, like a lot of character in this community. There's a lot of different styles houses. This is where you're gonna find some custom builds. This is where you're gonna find some kind of older school, you know, smaller homes. But a lot of the homes up here have that larger footprint where you have a little bit of space, you have a little bit of land, you have potential for an ADU. South O2, you have potential for an ADU. My sister lives down that way, and they did put an ADU in their house. So if you want a little more space and you want a little more character, this might be the spot for you. And we're up on a hill too, so a lot of these areas you're gonna have views. That way is the coast. You could look up into the valley of Oceanside, so we're sitting a little bit above that, like where we came, like Goat Hill. It's a little bit kind of down in the valley there. And as you go north and North River and all that area out there, it's a little flat. Up here, we're a little bit elevated.
So here in Fire Mountain, you are in a super convenient spot. You've got the 78 freeway just to the south of us here, and there's everything you need down there. There's Target, Trader Joe's, there's a whole Westfield Mall, so there's a ton of restaurants and shops and stuff in there. So really getting anywhere from here is easy. It's just not the most walkable neighborhood. As you can see behind us, no sidewalks. We're dodging cars left and right.
We're walking in dirt. Yeah, it's not the safest place to walk. If you want walkable, go downtown. The next area we're going to cover too, the next neighborhood we're going to cover is walkable in a different sense. It's like a sense of ton of sidewalks and areas. You got the kids, strollers, all that stuff. Up here, Fire Mountain, not too much. But in the drone footage too, you'll see it's beautiful up here. A lot of different styles of homes, like we said. So a lot of different options right here in Fire Mountain. So as you can see, we're at Front Wave Arena, which is the newest venue right here in Oceanside. Part of all the growth that's going on right here in Oceanside. This is where the San Diego Sockers play. I came here with my family, I think it was last weekend. We came to a Sockers game, and it's super fun. It's indoor soccer. Seats about 7,500. It was a blast. It was super fun. It's kind of like a mix between hockey and soccer. So super fun. There's also a minor league basketball team that plays here. I think it's the Clippers. Camera guy, is it Clippers?
I think so.
I think so. We'll get that confirmed. But anyways, brand new arena. They also have events here. So Simone Biles came here, did gymnastics. They're gonna have concerts here and all kinds of stuff. So it's like a new central hub, and it's right by the sports fields, that huge area where they have soccer tournaments like throughout the year. So you'll see a lot going on over here. You'll see a lot going on in here. And I think it's just an awesome brand new amenity to have right here in Oceanside.
So now we're walking through Rancho Del Oro. This is a really cool community, huge community. There are a ton of houses in here. So if you're looking at Oceanside to be a little bit more inland, to be a little bit more affordable, this is definitely a community to take a look at. A ton of different types of housing. You've got a lot of condos, you've got smaller single family houses, you've got larger single family houses. There's just a lot to choose from in here. And it's just a really well kept, clean, great community here in Oceanside.
And this is all within a HOA, so you're gonna have HOA fees. There's a bunch of different little villages, they call them. So every little village is going to have its own HOA as well. One benefit of here, you're going to have the Central Park, the just Rancho de Oro, the main park, is it the YMCA's up there?
Yep.
YMCA's right up that way. But then within the communities too, you're going to have a bunch of these pocket parks, which we're walking by right now, which will show you some footage of. They're just little community parks. So a little grass area. This one has just a few swings. Other ones have like little play structures and that kind of thing. So you do have those within the neighborhood. As far as getting to the beach, getting to that downtown area where we just were earlier in this video, we'll bring it up on a map so then we don't get it wrong. But if I had to guess, it's probably about 15 to 20 minutes, depending on where you're going. So it's still not too far. Like Cassie mentioned, it's going to be one of the more affordable areas where you're getting into these tract neighborhoods right here in Oceanside. You're not too far back. The next neighborhood we go to, it's that brand new build we're going to show you. It's just graded right now, nothing on there right now, but we're going to show you that's even a little bit further. So as far as infrastructure here, right down the road off Oceanside Boulevard, kind of to the east end where we were earlier, that's where you're going to find kind of the shopping center and a few restaurants and that kind of thing down there. But anyways, this is the biggest chunk. This is probably where we have made the most videos for Oceanside, just because there's so many areas and so many houses and options up here, where South O was the smallest one we covered today. The Fire Mountain was probably the middle one. Now we're in Rancho de Oro. The next one is somewhere, it's probably about 600 houses or so, but I think that area is going to be continued to be developed over time as well. And this area too is one of our first reach outs from YouTube, moved right to this area. So if you guys are thinking about moving, you got some questions, you got to reach out, hit us up. We'll help you out. So now we are at North River Farms. I'll pan you over real quick. They're doing construction as we speak, building some houses. Nothing new. I mean, nothing, all of it's new. Nothing open yet. They're supposed to come online about mid 2025 or so. There's no models, nothing like that is open right now. They're just graded. There's structures up, but it's going to be a pretty decent sized community right here. We're like in the eastern portion of Oceanside. Back this way, if you look even further east, there's literally like farms and stuff right over there. And so that's kind of what this whole area used to be. A lot of farmland. You'll still see a lot of that around. That's why there was a ton of pushback for this area. They kind of wanted to keep it open. What they did, they kind of made it like a little bit of farm integrated into it. So another community over in Encinitas called Fox Point Farms, which we covered a few times. They built it. There's actually like a 5-acre farm on there. That's apparently what's happening here as well. I'm trying to dig in. Some of the old stuff was saying that they're going to have it. Some of the new stuff, they're saying they're still going to have a bunch of amenities and pools and like community center and all that kind of stuff. But I think they're still going to have some farm out here.
So there's going to be a little bit of different types of housing in here. One of the cool kind of concepts that they have is multi-generational. So you have some kind of outbuildings, main house, something like that. But there also are going to be some more just traditional homes as well. Huge development. We don't see this very often in Oceanside. We were just in Rancho del Oro, which is one of the older master plan communities and just another giant development. So this is kind of one of the bigger ones since that one back in the 80s and 90s. So interesting to see it here in Oceanside. And kind of where we are, we're north of the 76, kind of right, almost getting into like that Bonsall, Fallbrook, right on the edge of the northeastern section of Oceanside. Arrowwood is going to be right over here behind us, which is kind of in that North Oceanside area as well.
Yeah, and you think we're this far back, we're like miles from the ocean. It's pretty far. Okay, not pretty far. We'll bring up the map too. We'll show you exactly how far. It's not as far as I'm thinking, but even right now, we're getting like a coastal breeze.
Yep.
It's nice and cool back here. It's not always the case. As you get further inland, yeah, it's going to get warmer. Today is awesome. It's a beautiful day right here in San Diego. But Cassie did mention Arrowwood. If you guys want another neighborhood, and we covered a few other neighborhoods in that vlog style video as well. Arrowwood is another master plan community, just a little bit, not too far. Like I could almost hit it with a rock. Not too far from here. Go check out that vlog. That video is popping up right now, and some more areas of Oceanside you can really dig into.